we can actually simplify the internet into two basic concepts: interoperability and hyperlinks. If you can understand interoperability and hyperlinks, you've got the fundamental idea of what the internet is. So let's start with interoperability. Say I have two programs, Notepad and LibreOffice. It's kind of like Microsoft Word. Now I'm going to create an non-interoperable document, text document. Now we're going to go up and we're going to save it as just whatever name is there, but the type is Word doc. So LibreOffice is operable with Microsoft Word. I could save it in all these formats. I'm going to choose .doc and go ahead and save. Now you see it's popped up here. Now we're going to put it into Notepad, which cannot open Word files. This is non-interoperability. If we want them to interoperate, we have to save it in a file type that both can handle. Notepad only does plain text. So if I want this to work in Notepad, let's delete the file and start over. Now this time when we save it, we're going to save it in a format that is operable with Notepad, because Notepad only does text. Save. Now here's the file. Drag it in. Now it works. It used to be that if you had a file that you were sending from a Mac to a PC or vice versa, it wasn't guaranteed that they would have the right software installed to make it work. So the solution they came up with for the internet when they were designing it was HTML. It's a common document format that everybody could agree on. They would make their computer system able to read this document format, HTML. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And then they also agreed on something called HTTP. HTTP is the way for the computers to all talk to each other. They have to speak the same language. If I'm here in Pasadena and I'm talking to a computer in New York and I'm sending this over the airwaves across the internet and they don't know how to talk to each other, I'm not going to get the file I need. So they have to speak the same language. That language that they created is HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So you notice HTML, HTTP, these two principal things that they created to make the internet work that are keys of interoperability, they both have HT hypertext at the beginning. So one's the transfer protocol, one's the markup language or the document format, but they're both hypertext. What is hypertext? Well, that's the second key thing on the internet. Hypertext means beyond text. It's more than just regular text. It has hyperlinks and other interactivity. There used to be old terminals where you could actually tap on the monitor to follow a hyperlink, and it would take you to other parts of the document or to other documents. A hyperlink is something that connects one part of the internet to another. So the internet you can think of as a big web with all these different little anchor points. And each anchor point has links, hyperlinks, hypertext, that go out to other little anchors, little parts of the internet. So you've got a point here, a point here, point here, 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 here. And these points are all connected to each other. And what makes the internet great is that not only is this one point connected to all these other points, but you've got other points within here that are all connected to each other. And that so it starts to look like a web, but in reality, it actually looks more like a big neural network. It's actually just kind of chaotic. And the reason is that no one point is more important than any other point. Every anchor point in the web is equally able to access any other part of the web. So you have hyperlinks that are connecting they're the connecting threads on this web or this net, and they're connected anywhere. Well, this actually wasn't very intuitive. It was an invention of Tim Berners-Lee that was well thought out to make sure that the internet would be interoperable and that would facilitate the hyperlinking of all these different anchors. So the old way of doing it might be something like connect to your server that you're reaching that's in another part of the world, and you type in the number or whatever. Then you have to log in. Then you have to navigate through that computer's directory structure. Then you have to find the file and request it, and then it gets sent over the internet to you, and then you can open it. Hopefully it's in a format that your computer can read. So nowadays with URLs, it's simplified. So you put in a link or a URL, and it's just like this. There's the domain name that tells you which computer to start talking to, and then you've got any folder or directory structure, and you've got the file name right here. And it's all just right there, and it does it all for you. Enough talk. Let's make a web page. Remember interoperability. So if we're going to make a web page, we can't just open up Microsoft Word and write something in it and save it and expect it to work on the web, because it has to be interoperable. So if you've ever tried actually to do that, you don't realize it, but Microsoft Word uses a markup language. It has its own formatting. It's not hypertext markup language, it's Microsoft whatever markup language. So if you try and write in Microsoft Word, for example, with a new markup language, then you've got the markup language you're writing being encoded into Microsoft's markup language. And then when you serve it to like a browser or something across the internet, it's going to, first of all, HTTP will tell it this is a Microsoft Word document. And so the browser probably won't even try to read it. But if it does, it's going to be really confused because it doesn't know Word document. It only knows HTML. So what we need to do is make sure that even if we write good HTML, it can't be encoded into another language. It has to be encoded as we type it. So you have to find what's called a plaintext word editor, a plaintext editor. So if you're in Windows, this is easy. Just open Notepad. If you can't find it, hit Windows key R, type Notepad, hit enter. If you're in Mac, you can open TextEdit. Now in Mac, it's a little bit more difficult because you have to make sure that you're saving as plain text and not rich text. Here's a video that'll help you with some of the complications with the Mac. And come back here when you're done if you haven't got that yet. And you may want to actually install an additional nicer Plaintext Editor, one that has syntax highlighting and kind of like is aware of what language it is that you're writing. But so here's a video for that if you want to. But the important thing is that you're able to compose a document and save it in plain text format. So it'll have the extension .txt by default, or what we'll do is we'll actually give it HTML. So get that all set up. Pause it right now, get that all set up, and then come back once you're able to verify that you're saving in plain text. Okay, you've got your text editor installed and you've figured out how to make it work in plain text mode. So here's what I want you to do. Write hello world in your document, and you can expand on this later. Don't try and enter any code right now, just write plain text. Write hello world, and now do save as. If you've already saved it, save it in a different place. So save it as your file name, pick a file name. And this is important. You have to be aware of where you're saving it because you have to be able to move this file around later. So I recommend saving it directly on your desktop, or creating, actually even better, create a folder in your desktop called Webmaking 101 Unit 1. And save it into that folder. Give it a file name you'll remember, and give it the extension .html. Now make sure that it's not appending hidden file name extensions onto it, like .txt at the end, since you're saving in plain text. Once you get this figured out, you're gonna save this. It'll be saved as your file name .html. There won't be any hidden file extensions. It won't be saved in any other format. It'll just be plain text .html. Okay. Now. Keep in mind where you put it. Open a browser, any browser, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, and either use the open dialog, like File, Open, Control O, whatever your shortcut is for your operating system. Or if you have the folder open, you can just click and drag the file that you just created. I told you to remember where it was, into your browser, just into an empty new page. And the browser should, if you did it right, open just the plain text file. you've got this plain text file that's now open, displaying exactly what you wrote. It shouldn't look any different unless you wrote some crazy code. It should be just simple, plain text. And if you look in the browser address bar, you should see your file name .html, and then before that in the URL, you've got all of the location information. And you'll notice it starts with something like file, or it doesn't start with like the normal stuff. It doesn't look like a normal web URL. There's no domain, for example, because it's a local file. But we'll do something with that in a minute. So I hope you don't close your text editor as you do this. You can save it and keep it open. So here's the trick that you should always do when you're composing and editing, is have one window that is your results window and one window that is your editing window. So if you've got your plain text editor open still, put that in half of your screen and put your browser in the other half of the screen. You can look at them both at the same time. And if you haven't changed things, now go to your plain text editor and make a change. Type something new and then do save, not save as, save it in the same place because you've already got it open. Don't close anything. Now tab over or move over to the browser and find the refresh button. A shortcut on Windows is F5. It's the little like recycly looking icon. Hit refresh and you'll see that the page updates with what you've just typed in your text editor. So this is the essence of a web page. You actually have just created a web page. It's not quite a web page because it's not on the internet. If you wanted to share this with me, you couldn't just give me a URL and then I could see it. You'd have to like send me a whole copy of the file. So it's not quite the internet, but it is a web page. It's a page that's being opened by the browser, and it's plain text. We're going to do with code later, but it's being opened by the browser in HTML format actually. So do something like hit return a couple of times, try to make a list, and then refresh it and see what happens. You'll notice that it's not quite what you expect. There's no formatting that's allowed, or try to put 6 spaces between a word. So something interesting is going on. We need to format it ourselves. We're going to do that by hand. But for now, what's important to know is you just created a web page. In order to be able to transfer a file from one hard drive to another, the distant hard drive has to be reliably on, running, connected to the internet, and in addition to the standard knowing HTTP, transferring files in HTML, and all of the other interoperability issues. So that means we probably shouldn't just be using a random old laptop that's sitting around, because we're going to take that to a coffee shop, we're going to disconnect it, we're going to do things with it that's going to make it unreliable as a source when other people want to get files off our hard drive. So what we do instead is we create a dedicated computer that we call a server. And all a server does is it waits around, always connected to the internet, always on, for somebody to request a file from its hard drive, and then it serves it to you. So we use this kind of horizontal connection to simplify what the internet is, connecting one hard drive to another. But what is maybe a more appropriate metaphor would be to have an up-down relationship, because the internet we kind of think of as something that's in the cloud, right? So we don't know where the server is. You don't necessarily have this computer in your house. You probably have it in a place that's a little bit more reliable in terms of internet and faster speed. And so we think of it as we're looking up, connecting up to the server, which is in the internet, which is the internet. You might even think of it as in the cloud, somewhere in the sky. And the server is just always there waiting to serve. So if the server is the internet and we're down here on Earth, we are the client. The client is that which receives the services of the server. So the client is the front side of the equation. The server is the back side, or the internet side. Now the client is you with your computer, or anybody else who uses their computer to connect to the same server. That's the client side, and they'll be using things like browsers rather than server software. And we call the client side front side kind of because it's the part that we see, and we call the server side back side because it's the part we don't see. And it's also how we think of it as in the sky. The metaphors are a little bit confusing, but front side is what's right in front of you. Back side or back end is what's on the internet usually. So stuff that happens in the server, up in the cloud, up in the sky, that's back end. Stuff that happens right on your computer, on your hard drive, in your computer's memory and RAM, and on your monitor, that's front end. So when a client connects to a server, they communicate with HTTP. The client asks the server for an HTML file, and the server sends it down the line to the client. We call this downloading. Uploading would be the reverse if the client sent a file up to the server, which most people don't do unless you are a web developer. And you guys are all web developers as of the end of this lesson. We're going to learn how to upload. So what is the next step? You've got a web page. How are you going to get it on the web? Well, you need to have so it's on your hard drive. You need your hard drive to be connected to the internet in a certain way. You need your computer to always be on, and you need to have the software on your computer to receive requests from the internet and then serve out information. So probably none of you want to figure out all the logistics to actually do that. You don't want to set up a server on your own. What you're going to do is you're going to find somebody who will take on that responsibility for you. They already have a server, and they're willing to run the server for you, run a server for you. So, you know, if somebody invites you to their home, they are hosting you at their home. Or if you host an event at some venue, then they're hosting the venue. Now, somebody that hosts your website on their server, that we call them a host as well. So a host is a person, a provider, an organization that has a server set up or multiple servers and will host your files on their server. You pay them a monthly or a yearly fee, and the host will take care of all the server logistics for you, and you'll be able to have your website on the internet. This is how everybody does it nowadays, unless you're Google or Amazon. Most people most organizations pay a host to run their website. It simplifies things a lot. So you guys, as students of this course, have hosting for this course that I'm providing to you. And so this is step 2. This is the second in-class project. Is you're going to actually, right now, you're going to put your file that you made, your web page, on the internet so it'll be a true web page. So first off, you need a domain, because all URLs have a domain. I need to be able to just click on a link and go to your file, right? So here's the information about domains if you haven't already purchased one. So you've got the domain, and now you have to hook that up with your hosting. And you need to first get your email packet that you should have received. If you haven't received it, you'll need to send me an email. And here's the information on how to connect your domain to your hosting. Okay, so you've done that. If you haven't, pause it and go do that. So now you've got your domain pointed to your host. You've got your domain pointed to your server, you could say. You got your hard drive in the sky, and it might take a while for things to kind of fit together. It's called resolving. Your domain, it takes a while, but after it resolves, what I want you to do is connect to your server with another protocol. We talked about HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That's kind of like for browsers and clicking on links. But what we're going to do now is you have your file on your hard drive. You want it in the hard drive on the server, the host. You want it to be hosted on the server, and you want to get it up in the, we might call it like on the internet or in the cloud, and so we want to upload it. So we need another protocol, not for hypertext, but to transfer files up into the cloud to upload files. This is called file transfer protocol. It's very similar to HTTP in a lot of ways in that it's interoperable, facilitates communication between devices, between software and computers, but its purpose, as it says, is to transfer a file up to the internet, to a server, or to download. File transfer protocol, FTP, is used to upload documents to the server so that people using HTTP can download them and view them in their browser. So you actually have to install your FTP client first before you can get anything done. So here's information on installing your FTP client. Okay, you got that installed, and you follow the instructions to connect to your host, and you've uploaded a file. Now, if by now it should have resolved, you should be able to go to the URL by putting your domain, and then remembering the directory structure where you had it and the file name, and remembering how a URL is constructed: domain name, directories, file name, and type that into a browser that's connected to the internet. And if your domain name has resolved and everything goes right, then it works. So if you have trouble with this project, ask me, or go into the Skillshare discussion and discuss what the problem you're having is, and we'll help you with that. This video is almost over, but the class session is not almost over. You can't just turn off the video and be done with the class for now and start working on your homework. Part of the class is to take the in-class quiz. So you got to follow this link. It'll be in the description, and click on it. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this quick little quiz, and you'll be tested on what you should have learned in this class, in this lecture. And it's great because it's a quick way to get feedback and find out how you're doing and whether or not you're picking up all the stuff that you need to. And it's expected that you're not going to get 100% of it right. So the things that you take the quiz and you come back as needing to know more on, there will be links provided to you, and as part of this class session, for all of the items that you got wrong, go and watch the video on that to get a little bit of a more in-depth explanation. It should be a little bit simpler, kind of like a little bit different way of explaining it. Spend a little bit more time on it, because it's very important in such a dense, condensed thing that you understand all of the concepts that are key concepts for each class and for each unit. So before you even finish this session, you should take this, get tested, and then go back and immerse yourself, relearn the concepts that you're having trouble with, the trouble spots, so that as you go through the course, you won't be lagging behind and getting stuck on the concept of what is a server again, and he kind of talked about it, but I don't really remember. So it's important, and you'll keep taking these tests and getting retested until you've got it. So you got to know what a server is, you got to know what these things are before you move on. So go ahead, take that quiz, and watch the videos, and then the session is over and you can get started on your homework. I highly suggest you start your homework right away, today, tonight, whenever you're taking it, and start watching the discussion forums on the homework, and kind of like gauging the trouble that other people are having. See if you can help people if you can, or if you run into trouble, ask on the forum in the discussion, and that'll be your first place. And also, of course, the resources on the internet that are available to you to make use of. It's an open book homework. Everything is open book. The quiz is not open book, but the homework is always open book. After you've done the required homework, it will benefit you a lot if you do the optional homework, the optional projects. but you can make it through the course and still get a lot out of the course and get the majority of what was needed out of the course just by doing the bare minimum, not doing the optional work. And then you can always come back later and do the optional work, come back and take the course again, do it a little bit more thoroughly, find the areas that interest you, that you want to know more about. But this time around, you really should do the primary assignments for each unit, and make sure that you get them done in time so that you can stay in step with the class, so that you're posting the same sorts of questions and looking at the same issues as everybody else at the same time. And also so that you can do the office hours with everybody at the same time. And then there's the whole procrastination equation. If you procrastinate this now, if you don't stay in step with the class, chances are you will never actually complete the course. You really should make a very big effort to stay with the course, stay on schedule, and not get off track. Because once you do that, your chances of actually following through go way down, just in terms of how people work and how we procrastinate, and things get in the way, and there's things competing for your time and your energy. You may lose the motivation, you may lose the interest, and right now is the best time to do it. So do it tonight, do your homework tonight, get it done ahead of time. See if you have time to do the optional things starting tomorrow, but try to get the homework done today and then do the optional things leading up to the next unit.